I woke up this morning to the news that Daniel Kahneman has died. Daniel Kahneman was a Nobel Prize winning psychologist who won the Nobel Prize in economics, and you gotta be real smart to do that. And the guy changed my life. I did not know him well personally. We had a lot of professional contact. For me, it was a lot. For him, I'm sure it was nothing, but a lot of professional contact over the years. And he's the centerpiece of this documentary series called Hacking Your Mind that I did for PBS. And the work that we got to do based on his work and interviewing all these people that his work helped to inspire. I mean, it totally changed my life. Totally changed my life. And by the way, if you like what I talk about here, you might be interested in the 4 hours on pbs.org. It's free to watch. Hacking Your Mind. For me, it was a life-changing experience. And Kahneman's sort of fundamental thing was, I mean, first of all, this is a guy who escaped the Nazis across Europe as a child by himself, more or less, and went on to pioneer all sorts of ways of thinking about bias, not just discrimination, prejudice, but this idea that human beings take shortcuts, cognitive shortcuts, mental shortcuts. And in the 70s with his partner, Amos Tversky, his intellectual partner, they pioneered all these notions that, like, basically if you starve people of information and put them on a really tight deadline, then the mistakes that we make as we make decisions become very predictable. And the fundamental thesis is essentially that there is an ancient way of thinking that we evolved over the course of millions of years to save us time and energy in trying to find food and spot enemies and all these things. And that your ability to leap out of your chair when you see a snake coming into the room has to do with this ancient circuitry that has you on autopilot most of the time, even today. And that the newer form of thinking, what he called system 2, your slow thinking brain, that is the brain that makes cautious, creative decisions. But that brain is expensive to use. It costs you a lot of energy to use that. And you just don't engage it very often. And we like to think that we are all being creative and cautious and rational all the time. But his work basically showed that's not the case. And so for me, coming out of this naive belief that I, was sort of in charge of my own decisions, and entering this world in which you realize, wow, we really are on autopilot all the time. I mean, I really had my life changed by this guy. So I highly recommend. He wrote a book based on after he had won the Nobel Prize, he went on to write this book, Thinking Fast and Slow. He used his Nobel Prize speech to announce his interest in this system 1, system 2, fast thinking, slow thinking brain idea, at a time when I would have been like, look at me, I won the Nobel Prize. He was like, now I'm on to this, just a really hardworking, really smart guy. So I highly recommend that book. I highly recommend Hacking Your Mind, to really understand just what a big deal his contributions have been. So, R.I.P. Daniel Kahneman.